Live. Who's ready for some intro music? Scott,
Let's
I
see
know you
it.
love some loud music. Come on now.
I'm ready for the live music right now.
Let's get some hangover going for you. Oh, hello, and welcome into this week's Week 14 Two Guys, One Pod show. I am Addi, the Nard Dog Narder, the Duck League champ, the winner of the Week 2, Week 3, and Week 1 League Champ tournaments. That's why I got this Colston Loveland jersey on. I am having a good time. It's a great week. The Bears are about to play the Packers to keep that #1 seed. Couldn't be feeling better. And you guys probably missed us a little bit. We're back. How are you doing today, Scott?
Oh, it feels great to be back. A little bit off with the holidays last week. Of course, getting our bets in regardless. But good to be back chatting again this Saturday, and we got more lines than ever. So what could go wrong?
Yeah, hell yeah. I love being on a Saturday show. We get to actually have all the lines available to us. And, we got Scott mildly hungover today. You might be able to see from those eyes that he had a fun evening last night. How was your night, Scotty?
Oh, incredible night. Got to go to a Michelin star restaurant and try about every different type of liquor that you can imagine. So the mixture felt great last night, but a little slow start today. Every minute counted as I counted down to the show, but stoked to be here. Stoked to be talking football. I can go lay around for the rest of today after we take care of business.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Love to hear that. Well, let's break down week 12. We actually had a fantastic week 12. You might not remember these, but we're going to go through the bad pretty quick here because there's not much bad to talk about. We had Josh Allen over 34.5 rushing yards, ended up with 20. Rome rule failed by single yard, 20 or 54 and a half, ended up at 53. A couple yards away is fine. Still feel good about the Rome rule. Al Pierce TD. This one didn't end up working out, sadly, but came back.
But he came back week 13 and got a deep ball, so went back to that well again. Those numbers right now are too high, too high. Still like an Alex Pierce touchdowns.
Oh yeah, totally agree. And this one I'll take full ownership for. Why did I think Tampa would win? They got absolutely shellacked. They were beat 34-7 by the Rams that week. I will not think Tampa will win again. And I'll take the last one too. Justin Jefferson touchdown. I've been preaching this every week. You're gonna hear about it again today, but yeah, he sadly did not get a touchdown.
Gosh, it's incredible how poor his season has been. His most people's first, second round pick in Superflex, and he's got one touchdown so far this season. And
Yeah,
this is
might not even get
he's supposed to be
touchdown.
QB proof, right? After last year,
He has been.
yeah,
He
two
has
two
been for a
touchdowns
while.
this year.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great though. It doesn't feel like two. But somebody who did get a touchdown in week 12, DK Metcalf, 2.5 touchdown odds, ended up putting it together. And you, as always, you're the Houston Whisperer, man. You got your ear to Texas.
Yeah, it's been a good time to be on the Texas train. We'll talk a little bit about that game later. But Houston's been playing well, and we found a couple opportunities. Week 12 went back to that well again in Week 13, and happy to see them playing better. So all of a sudden, that division race is heating up. I have a plus 325 ticket on Jacksonville from the preseason, and a plus 350, 400 from Houston Week 3 or Week 4. So just got to keep watching Indianapolis fall, and would love to see one of those cash.
Yeah, I like your odds. We had Woody Marks over 63.5, finished around 70. DJ Moore over 37.5, finished at around 60 as well. And the Chicago money line hit. Love that one. And finally, I just get to keep saying good things about AD Mitchell. I've been on this train long enough. 28.5 was way too low, and he's finally up into the 30s or 40s this week.
Yeah, he'll have to be after a 100-yard receiving game last week. I've seen way too much Addi Mitchell chatter on X. After watching him in that Thursday night football game drop those balls, I just could not go back to this well. But I remember week 12 when he caught that big touchdown. I was like, well, that was an instant cash for Addi. So it was it's good to see him play better. I mean, he had the potential, right? We see what he did in the preseason and to start putting together on the Jets of all teams as their wide receiver one right now.
Yeah. I mean, that team's going to look great with Fernando Mendoza or Kyler Murray, depending on what direction you think they go with next year. We had Mahomes at over 22.5 rushing yards, as well as the Kansas City money line week 12. Both of those hit.
Yeah, and we talked about how Mahomes, like in games that they really need it, he runs, and sure enough, he was able to do that. And I think we'll be talking about a very similar line today.
Yeah, I think we will too. Next up, we have Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, both on their overs, 55.5 and 24.5 respectively. Hadn't adjusted enough in week 12. They definitely have now. You got Michael Wilson in the high 70s. I think that I don't got balls of steel to pick that one. I'd be on Trade McBride at that point. But the other one we had was Yoshivas at over 37.5. This one looked bad for a bit when he was sitting at 35 for most of the game and then pulled off that touchdown. Great to see that there. And Hunter Henry over 32.5. You killed it on that one.
Yeah, that was an easy one. Took a couple of ladders with that. That was against Cincinnati, and we've been talking about that tight end matchup. Interested to talk a little bit more about it. I see you here in the ins list. You mentioned Kincaid, and I didn't see the latest news. Is he good to go this week for sure?
It's looking good. It's not for sure yet, but he has practiced all week. He is expected to play, but he's still got that questionable tag.
Sure. Well, we know that matchup's good, and if Kincaid plays, probably an avenue we want to take. And if not, then I'm definitely looking even at Dawson Knox. So.
Yeah. Knox is a good play in that matchup. I like that call too. But we got some players that are out. We will go ahead and go through those briefly. We have Marvin Harrison Jr. He has a heel injury or an injury. I believe he got diagnosed with hate for your fantasy team. At least hate for mine. Actually, that's a good chance to try out the soundboard. Let's see how this works. There you go. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, that's what he's been on your roster all year. You really got smacked with your Arizona takes this year. Lower down on this list here, we have Trey Benson, who I'm not sure he's going to play again this season. He was practicing a couple weeks ago. He had his practice window opened. It'll be 3 weeks this coming Wednesday. So we'll know once and for all if he's going to continue or if he has got a shot at playing by the middle of next week. Rough go. He had the opportunity too, right? The cards fell right, and in the first game, injured, never got the run out. So he'll be an interesting discussion in the offseason.
Yeah, trading Ramondre for him right before he got placed on IR will be the low light of my fantasy season in one of my home leagues. But you never know. The NFL teams are not very transparent with their injury list. So.
Yeah, and Ramondre hasn't been that good. I mean, almost more of a kind of bench grenade. So it's all right. It probably worked out in the end.
It hasn't so far, but I appreciate your candor. Let's move it on to Alvin Kamara. He is out this week. He did not get any practice time. Devin Neal, probably a good play this week, but haven't loved what I've seen from the Saints O-line. Next up, we got your shirt's namesake. Rome Odunze is out this week, probably out of you.
Yeah, stress fracture in his foot. He has had an injury now for, I think, the last 5 or 6 weeks, been playing through it. Finally decided to get some rest this week. It does sound like he'll be out. I saw an estimate anywhere 3 to 5 weeks. So a key piece to people's rosters early on. He's been definitely more hit or miss. As of late, though, he still put up a couple of good games, 100 plus and a touchdown. And last week, he, not a good game, but was completely missed on a wide open throw in the end zone. So that catch completely changed the outlook on him. But yeah, time for the next guy to step up. And I think later we'll be talking a little bit about Luther Burden.
Yes, Yes, we will. We definitely will. Sorry, quick burp. So yeah, I am too a bit hungover. My hangovers last 2 days now. Scott's even better than me on that one, sadly. But next up, we got Drake London. London's calling, and we ain't answering. He is out this week.
Yep, out again. I mean, these guys try to play regardless of their team being out, but there isn't a ton of motivation. This was a very similar injury to what Ricky Pearsall had, right? And he ended up being week to week, but didn't end up playing for 6 to 8 weeks, and he still hasn't looked the same since. Don't know if that's a Pearsall problem or if that's the injury, but this is a sprained PCL, and we might not even see London again for the season. I mean, Atlanta has nothing to play for.
Yeah, exactly. Ben McCown does some great injury work. Check out his Substack. He's been breaking down the Drake London injury. He predicted that would be a multi-week injury, so good place to get your news if you're looking for it there. They're going to be on this same channel tomorrow morning, so quick call out to them there. Next up, we got Mike Evans. He practiced, but he ain't playing this week. He only needs 700 yards in his last 3 weeks to keep that 1,000 record alive, so still a shot.
He's got Baker, and Baker is willing to force it in. So, yeah, he'll have four more weeks. 15, 16, 17, 18. He'll have 4 more weeks. So, yeah, just like 200 yards a game. No problem. No problem.
Yeah. Hey, only 170 or 166 per game.
This year, I think there hasn't been a 200-yard receiver. Who had that? It was like a back. Oh, no, the Michael Wilson. Still the highest receiving yards of the year by far. So when you're like, think about that when you're taking these ladders, and I've definitely been running this through my head. Once you start getting up in that 150 area, it's happened so few times this year. Just leave that one alone. It's tempting, but leave it alone. 125 is probably a good spot to stop your ladders usually.
Yeah, I think even 110 is probably a smart spot. But the next one here, we have Deontay Thornton is going to miss this week, and I just know, Scott, that you have some terrible Oakland Raiders take to tell us about.
Oh yeah, well that's the only reason Thornton's name is here, but we'll talk about that one later. Can't wait.
All right. Well, we got some players that are in this week, and they are going to be making quite a big difference to your lineup. We have a couple pretty big-name players to top this one off. We're going to start with Jaden Daniels is coming back from injury. That is astounding. As a football fan who loves Jaden Daniels and thinks he's a fantastic quarterback, I hate to see this for his health long-term. But as a fantasy football fan and somebody with Jaden Daniels on their Great Dane team, could not be more happy to get to see him play some football.
Oh, we are stoked to have him come back for that Great Dane team. Looking locked up to make the playoffs next week and looking pretty healthy still, knock on wood. So excited for that. Excited for Daniels being back. One thing to think about with his injury, it was his non-throwing elbow. So he should be good to go full speed. He might be a little bit out of game shape, but outside of that, I really wouldn't expect too much different than the norm. They're playing Minnesota, who has been a very tough defense. Brian Flores blitzing off the chart rates, but it'll be good. It'll be good to see him out there this week.
Yeah, and just for our live viewership, because we have been getting some of those. If you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. We will answer them. And I know how to put them on the screen, so that's something.
All right.
But we are moving to Marion Hampton. It is looking like he will finally come back from injury, and he will keep the Kamani Vidal streak of Kamani playing badly every other week alive. I would expect Kamani Vidal to have a very mid-week this week.
Yeah, I'll be really curious to see the distribution. I wouldn't expect Hampton to come in and take 80% of the carries. Vidal has been all right, though. When he was running down the sideline, I don't know if it was last week, man, he looked so slow. I was like, how is he running away from everybody right now? But he did have another good game next week. I'm stoked for Hampton. I'm stoked for the matchup this week. The Eagles, we saw how porous they were on the ground last week, and then they don't have Jalen Carter this week either. And that is already proven to be pretty detrimental in their 2 previous games without him, against Dallas and against the Giants, when Scadaboo had the 3 rushing touchdowns. So we'll definitely be talking more about Hampton later on.
Oh, yeah, we will. Next up, we got T. Higgins. He is likely coming back from that concussion this week. Limited participant all throughout the week. It is looking promising. Definitely check before you have him in your.
I think he's good, actually. Yep, he got a full practice, and he's been removed from the injury list. So wheels up for T. Higgins. First game with Joe Burrow since week 2. So it'll be awesome.
Exactly. Oh, it's going to be great. This is going to be a fun one since he's playing Buffalo. A little spoiler, we're going to bring that one up very shortly. But Kincaid is likely in. We alluded to this. That's going to be a great matchup for him. But let's move it into a more fun topic. J.J. McCarthy's back, so we don't need to see Will Levis's younger brother, Max Brosner, play another football game. So that's great.
Wow, that was just so painful to watch. And you heard a lot going into that week about how bad JJM was, and this guy couldn't be worse, and he surely was worse. That was an absolutely terrible game. What was good was for a surviving Big LM team. It was a down week for JSN, and we were playing against a couple of those. So I do like JSN to bounce back this week. His line is deflated after last week. We're not having to take 98, 99.5. So yeah, and then in Minnesota, I don't know. We'll talk about that one, but are we wheels up now? It can't get any worse, right?
It can't get any worse is our most common refrain when we talk about Minnesota, sadly.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
So we'll see. Speaking of things that couldn't get any worse, Aaron Rodgers is going to play again this week. The first set's working for him, so he is going to be in this game. Don't know if it matters much, but we will see.
The only team in the league that hasn't thrown for 250 yards in a game this season. Pretty crazy.
That's insane stats. Arthur Smith hates fantasy football. Let's break it into a quick ad break, and then we are getting you guys to the games. So, this is an ad brought to you by that's always fun. Love that. And right on time to the minute there. Love that, Scott. Yeah, just when I can keep a show sheet online, that is when I am at my best. I play under schedule. I'm very much like Caleb Williams and J.J. McCarthy there. So love to see that. We are on schedule, and we are talking games. We have Cincinnati at Buffalo, -6 to Buffalo, over under a 53, highest one of the week. Who are you liking here?
I think I like Cincinnati. 6 seems like a lot of points for a Buffalo team that's been pretty inconsistent. They have been playing well as of late, but their competition hasn't been as good either. Cincinnati needs to win out, and neither defense is very good here, as can be seen by the total. So 6 is a lot of points. It looks like you might even like Cincinnati to win this one.
Oh, yeah. I put that money line on there right quick, but the biggest thing is we haven't seen Buffalo's run defense get any better. And Chase Brown at 53.5 for his rushing line. I hate when I have a bet that I feel so confident in, because it's going to end up in way too many of my pick'em lineups. So I'm going to end up losing half of those if I end up not having him. I had the same thing happen with A.D. Mitchell when I first believed in that breakout. If my cat hits me in the face, I'm going to lose my freaking mind right now. She just meowed like she was going to. You chose to sit up here. I did not put you here. But how are you feeling about the Cincinnati run game in this one?
Yeah, it was interesting as I was pulling up the show sheet, and you had just typed this one in, and I had just looked it up. So you see 53.5. I saw 51.5 on Bovada, juiced highly towards the over. But I definitely like Chase Brown. As you said, Buffalo has been one of the worst run defenses. I think these two teams are the number 2 and 3 best matchups for running backs. So I do like both sides of the ball, though Cook is 98.5. Feels high, but I don't know. It's a terrible defense, so might chase that one as well as we get closer. And that was also juiced to the over. But I love it. Chase Brown over 50, 51.5. I thought this was going to be in the 60s.
Dude, this is the ladder play for me this week. I have some ladders on Chase Brown. I actually feel like 100 yards is definitely in the possible range, but we'll see. Next up, we got the tight end matchups. I love the Kincaid and Knox lines. They aren't necessarily out in most sports books, but if you got one, take it.
Yeah, we probably won't see those until Kincaid gets ruled in, but definitely going to keep an eye out for tomorrow morning. Last thought on Chase Brown. We did see Pirine come back last week, and Chase Brown's snap percentage dropped from 89, 82, 96, all the way back down to 60, which is what we saw right before Pirine got hurt. So Chase Brown did, in fact, though, have 15 carries and 7 catches. So you'll take 22 touches, and this is going to be an exciting game. I'm excited to watch this one.
That's a fun one. I'm in the same boat. It's just two teams that I love watching play football, so I'm here for it. I would love to see this one blow up. I think that the over is a possibility, but when you're looking at 53.5, what are you going to do? So let's move it.
Well, Thursday night it was 53.5, and you would have won if it was 73.5.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the fun Thursday night football game too. I really love that one. You know, even if you had Tesla lines early on, you still ended up getting your money's worth as long as you weren't taking the overs on the receiving yards. But it looked like a fantastic game, and it's nice to see the Cowboys come back to earth. Glenn, if you happen to listen to this one, I hope you know the Cowboys still aren't very good. But next up, we have Scott's skip of the week. Washington at Minnesota. Minnesota is plus 1.5, or Washington. Minnesota is plus 1.5, right?
Minnesota is plus 1.5, correct.
Yeah. Minnesota is plus 1.5, over under at 44. And I am taking the Washington line there easily. I think they're going to win this game pretty handedly, but I think that there is a ton of easy money to be won on this game because I think that every single line is on the unders right now. Whenever you're dealing with players coming off of injury, you're either going to see them get slow rolled back into the lineup or you're going to see them highly overproduce Vegas's expectations. This is one of those cases where I think Vegas is underplaying it. I know we see a fantastic defense from Brian Flores, but when it comes down to it, Washington's defense is god-awful, and Jaden Daniels can make even the best defensive coordinator very frustrated. So I am taking all the lines in this one. Are you liking anyone here, or is this a proper Scott skip?
I mean, it's definitely a skip type of game, but you know that I like to stay in the fire. So we've got to go back to Justin Jefferson, coming off what must be near a career low in receiving yards for a game with 4 last week. Okay, I figured, but maybe there's a game his rookie year or something. Absolutely terrible game. We talked about it earlier, 2 touchdowns on the season, and this week's touchdown line is plus 155, which is about 20 points lower than it has been. And we've been tracking this throughout. So my thought was like, what does Vegas know? What do the people know? Why is this week different? And Washington's defense has been pretty terrible against the pass, against the run. We saw another back and forth game last week against the Broncos, who've been a very middling offense now for a while. So I know Dan Quinn took over, and we were expecting to see some difference, some improvement, but haven't really seen that play out yet. So definitely like going back, Justin Jefferson TD plus 155 and Justin Jefferson over 64.5 receiving yards.
Love the 9 seconds of clapping there. Well, I am totally with you. You know I am the first person to hop on these Justin Jefferson lines. Next up, we have Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's plus 1.5 at home, surprisingly, and 46.5 over under. How are you feeling about this one?
I don't fully understand why Jacksonville isn't favored at home. They haven't lost to the Colts in Jacksonville in like 20 seasons, I think I heard earlier this week. And they have the same record. Indy sliding. Jacksonville's getting it done. They got one of the top defenses in the league all of a sudden. Sauce Gardner's banged up for Indy, and I like Jacksonville. I like Jacksonville to win this one. It's an important game. They're moving in the right direction, and they've been just getting it done, gritting it out. And Daniel Jones not able to run with his broken fibula at this point. And I just don't get this one. Like, what am I missing here?
Well, I think the thing that you're missing is the thing that you've been preaching to us since week one, that Jacksonville isn't very good.
This is the problem. I've been drawn back in.
Yeah, just when they think you're out, you pull them back in. But I have my money on Indianapolis in this one. I think that a 1.5 is essentially a pick 'em because most of these games are going to come down to a field goal. In a rain game, I could see Indianapolis being able to lean on Jonathan Taylor. We haven't seen a lot of ceiling performances from him of late, but I think that this is a good breakout opportunity. Jacksonville's a pass funnel defense, and to be entirely honest, I don't see any reason that they wouldn't be able to run. But the thing that stood out to me in this one, because I had a couple bets before we even started this up, Jakobi Meyers being at 5 to 10 yards over Brian Thomas Jr. is weird. Feels wrong.
It feels wrong, but that's the sentiment right now. I mean, you can hear it on the different shows. You can see it on X how people are talking about BTJ. But one thing that I heard on the fantasy footballers this week was that Jason had gone back and watched all of BTJ's snaps, not just his 3 catches, but all of them. And he was out there. He set that big block for Jakobi Meyers that went off for that touchdown. He was really in it. And it seemed to me before the injury, there was somewhat of a disconnect this season between in the game, just dropping balls or stupid penalties. So I don't know. I think we've gone too far. Seeing his line at 46.5, which it's been here before, and it's here again. But I don't know. I just think he's better than that. And I'm back in on BTJ this week. Myers is 50.5. A lot of people talking about him. I'm going to go the BTJ side.
I'll take that under on Myers all day. And by default, I'm going to take the over on BTJ as well. Next up, we have the Houston Whisperer himself telling us about this Houston versus KC game. KC is at -3.5, over under of a dismal 41.5. There you go. Using that fart sound effect pretty expeditiously at this point. How are we feeling about this one?
I feel like Kansas City's going to win because Kansas City doesn't miss the playoffs. And we got to this point, a couple weeks ago, we said, the Bills might not make it, the Lions might not make it, Kansas City might not make it. Well, Bills have taken care of business. The Lions are starting to take care of business. And now I think it's Kansas City's turn to take care of business. But I don't like the hook. Houston's been playing a lot better. Their offensive line has gone from the bottom of the league to the upper part of the middle in terms of run blocking. Yeah, so that's been great. I also read this morning that C.J. Stroud has become a top 5 passer, top 5 in passing EPA, so they're playing a lot better. I think it's going to be close. I mean, Houston is the better team right now. I'm not going to say on both sides of the ball. I do think that Kansas City's offense is the better unit, but the best unit on the field tomorrow is that Houston defense. 3.5 is a lot for Kansas City, a team that really struggles to cover frequently. And though I like KC, I think I like Houston plus 3.5.
I do too. I think this one's going to come down to a field goal. I think 3.5 is high. I do like the over in this game, though. I think Houston KC will actually turn into a bit of a shootout. I don't think it'll be any 77-point over under like the Cowboys Lions game, but I do think that this one's going to go over 41.5. I see a couple lines that you threw in here. I was expecting a Jaden Higgins reference, maybe a Christian Kirk. Tell us why Nico Collins is a good play.
When Nico Collins doesn't score a touchdown, I always like him the week after to score a touchdown. I think last week he was was it last week or the week before where he kind of ran out at the 2 yard line when he had nobody in front of him, and then it turned into a Nick Chubb rush on, I think it was last week, on the next play. And sometimes I believe that players are due. And Nico Collins has been elite. He is working his way back towards being a top 10, top 8 wide receiver. And this is a big game. Big players step up in big games. And at plus 175, I mean, too good to leave this one alone. Nico Collins, TD, plus 175.
And with Jaden Higgins starting to really come into his own, I think that opens the floor for Nico Collins. If anything, the biggest issue Nico has faced is double coverage because people have learned how to play against that Bobby Slowick offense.
Do you like Jaden Higgins plus 360 touchdown? I mean, that seems really high for a guy who's got a couple on the season and he's catching a lot of balls right now. Let's see, when's the last time he scored a touchdown?
I have a couple bet slips with him, but I like the Nico line more because plus 175 for Nico is about the best line you're going to get on Nico Collins at this point in his career. Like, if there's any time to take him when he's around plus 200, that is when you make that move. So I'm on the Nico Collins side, but I don't think that you'd be wrong to throw a couple flyers at Jaden Higgins at the end of your bet slip. Hey, how you feel about Mahomes this week?
We talked about it in the recap. Mahomes runs when they're desperate, and there isn't much more of a desperate situation than this week. So I like it. His number's down to 22.5. I was expecting somewhere between 24.5 and 26.5. So I was kind of surprised to see it at that 22.5 mark. It is heavily juiced to the over, so I will be looking at different ways to play it because I don't necessarily want to take it minus 150. But Mahomes, we know he runs in the big games. This is the rest of the season are going to be big games for Kansas City. I'm going to be monitoring this line each week, and I'd expect it to hit, I don't know, 4 of the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that one. I think that's a good call, and personally, like, the KC run offense hasn't left anyone feeling good. I would love to see Rashard Smith in there a bit more, but they are just heavily committed to Kareem Hunt at this point. I'm not
3 yards a carry.
Why. Yeah, I feel like it's like when Nick Chubb was the leading rusher for the Houston Texans. You were like, this is going to give eventually. It just hasn't for Andy Reid. He trusts Kareem, and I'm inclined to just not bet on anyone other than Mahomes and the receivers in these ones. Next up here, we got Philly at minus 2.5 at the LA Chargers. 41 over under. This one is one that I really wanted to get your feedback on because for me, when I saw this, the first thing I thought was, man, I could take the overs on almost any player in this game.
Yeah, I really like Philly this week. I think that the market is quite sour on them right now. We saw this last year when the market turned sour on them, and then they went on to win the Super Bowl. Granted, 2 years ago, the market went sour on them, and that's when they completely fell apart down the stretch, right? And then lost that playoff game to the Bucks. But I love the run game for the Chargers tomorrow. The Eagles, we saw them get shredded by both Monangai and Swift last week. I believe they both had over 100 rushing yards, right?
Yep. First time in about 40 years for the Bears that we got 2 100-yard rushers. It was real fun.
Yeah, and I saw some good cut-ups of the blocking schemes and just kind of how they make that defense flow in one direction, and then they crack them back with the lineman who's pulling. So, but on top of that, Jalen Carter is not playing this week for the Eagles, and there's been 2 games this season that he hasn't played against the Giants and against the Cowboys, and those games, I think they gave up 5 rushing touchdowns to Javonte Williams and Scattaboo, and nearly 200 yards combined across those 2 games. Right now, the Hampton line is 44.5. They're expecting kind of a split backfield, but 44.5, I love that, and also TD at plus 165. I mean, they've been giving up on the ground. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because he was just deemed in. It was made official this morning that he's going to be coming off of IR from Monday's game. But yeah, I had to hop on plus 165. I think he'll get a couple cracks at it.
Yeah, and I'm with you here. I think Philly does end up taking care of business in this one. The Bears managed to make some pretty great plays. If you're if you're looking for a full breakdown on that, I actually did a full breakdown on Uncovered NFL on the Chicago Bears and Packers game coming into this next one. But any other lines in this one that are calling out to you? I didn't hate the Lad McConkey line either. I didn't hate Herbert, but I was a little worried to take anyone other than the rushing game because Philly's defense can shut you down at times. And we even saw from Caleb Williams last week that they are not an easy team to pass against.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what Devonta Smith's line looks like, but I hadn't gotten to the receivers yet for Philly. Kind of just interested in watching that game, and I think just rooting for Philly in general is the angle I'm going to really focus on.
Yeah, I think Saquon is probably a safe bet too. Like, if there was ever a time to bet on Saquon, it's when he's at a low. We preach this consistently on the network that when you see that overreaction from Vegas or that underreaction, it is time to start buying in, and this is a good opportunity to do so. But we are bringing it in to the one, the only, first place in the NFC North. Bear down, Chicago Bears. We're both wearing Bears jerseys here. This is a Bears show. We are here to break down the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers -6.5 over under 44.5. Green Bay has -6.5. It is time to respect the Chicago Bears. This is going to be a close game. I'm not sure I like the over, but I sure as shit love the Chicago Bears in this one. How are you feeling about it?
Man, the market does not like the Bears at all. 6.5. I believe that this is the highest total for that a number one seed has ever been an underdog. At this point in the season, no respect whatsoever, and they just get it done every week. Last year a lot of people wanted to be out on the Chiefs, but they kept getting it done every week. And I don't know. I saw Ben Johnson take his shirt off this last week for some pretzels or something. So I think they're ready to go. I think they're fine. Hot dogs. Okay, yeah. What was that in Chicago?
If we get some lives. If we get people in the live stream asking me to take my shirt off next episode, I will happily do so.
Yeah. So I don't know. 6.5. I kind of do like the Bears. I mean, no respect. Green Bay always gets an extra couple of points from the market, kind of like the Cowboys do, and you can see it right here in this line. But what about players? What kind of players are you thinking about for this game?
So I did a full breakdown on these guys this morning, and the first thing that I note is that the Chicago Bears secondary is criminally overrated. For obvious reasons. We lead in turnovers left and right. We are able to make plays. And I think that with Dontavian Wixon, with Christian Watson, with Jaden Reed, with Matt Golden potentially back this week, that the Jordan Love line of 220 passing yards is pretty low. I love the Bears, but I do think that Love is the lifeblood of that offense, and they've been passing the ball left and right. Like that is their bread and butter. They are happy to be passing the ball. They don't want to run it up the middle with Josh Jacobs every play. That is what Matt LaFleur does when he is terrified. So I like the Love line, but the reason I like that is because the one thing that Green Bay does bad on defense, and I broke this down fully in the film. I highly recommend you watch the Uncovered NFL if you're watching the stream. I went through and actually broke down a couple of those run plays. The Bears down blocking from Thuney, Dahlman, and Darnell Wright is really some of the best down blocking I can see out there. They pull with the tight ends constantly. They run trap concepts, but they run it within a zone scheme. It's one of the more innovative run games that you can see out there. And that's why I love DeAndre Swift. I've seen his line as low as 44.5. And they have him at 50 in a couple sports books. I would take 60 plus there. DeAndre Swift has looked fantastic for the Bears.
He really has looked great and is not getting any love. They are splitting the carries. Him and Monungai. I don't know if it's hot hand or kind of what their approach is, but Swift's still getting first cracks, and he'll have another good shot this week against Green Bay. I don't really know how is their rushing defense.
So their rushing defense looks good on paper, but if you watch the film on it, one, they've had pretty easy matchups aside from like a couple games against Detroit. but they rush directly up the field. So they get a lot of negative plays, making their stats look a lot better. But when you're playing a team that pulls the guard very frequently, a big thing you'll notice is that they'll have worse rushing games against teams that are actually disciplined and run the play action pass. Like when you look at their bad games, they're against Gibbs and Montgomery, for example. The reason that is because Ben Johnson's coaching playbook largely has stayed in Detroit as well. And when you can run those zone concepts mixed with a play action pass, you essentially have the defensive lines flowing all the way upfield, and then those crackdown blocks actually are making their way to the second level. Green Bay is typically in a 3-4, if not a 4-3, when they're trying to cover like 13 personnel, 22 personnel, like heavy run formations. And that's pretty much the most tepid formation you can have. Most teams are running like 5 guys on the line. They're running blitzes. So I absolutely love the matchup for Swift. Monangai, I think, is a little over hyped. They have him in the like high 40s, 50s. Like I'm not inclined to believe that Monangai is actually getting a 50-50 split here. DeAndre Swift, I think, even looked better last week. So I think that this is the right time to buy into the Swift play.
Yeah, I like that. I do think that Monangai is a tough play this week. Yeah, I just don't believe in the role consistently. I think it'll be there from game to game. I think it'll be game plan dependent. But we saw this after his big game previously. He came back. He ended up getting the touchdown in the game after, but he didn't run for more than like 20, 25 yards. So, yeah, definitely like the Swift angle more. And as I look in this game, I decided to pull it up here, and I see that Jordan Love's total passing touchdowns is 1.5 minus 130. I do like that a lot. The Bears have been number 3 to the quarterback, giving up an average of plus 3.1 PPR points per game. So that's about a touchdown worth. So that seemed kind of low to me. And I also have Josh Jacobs in Big Limb, so it's kind of like a win-win whenever the Green Bay Packers score.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would imagine that much. And I think both are safe plays. I think Jacobs is likely on tap to at least get a goal line opportunity in this one. I think Green Bay's offense is going to be able to compete. Nahshon Wright plays a lot like Trayvon Diggs does from the corner position, where he gives up a lot of big plays. The Bears secondary is finally healthy, but even then, like, Christian Watson's torn up the Bears defense before. Wicks has, Dobbs has. I love the over 2 passing touchdowns to Love. I also love Caleb over 190 at his passing line. I think that's a little low. I think that this game will turn into more of a shootout than the over-under assumes, but it's going to be an interesting one. I think this is the most fun game of the week to watch, aside from maybe Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm looking here too. I see Caleb Williams 2 plus passing touchdowns plus 195. Kind of interested there. And then 3 plus for plus 750. Maybe a little sprinkle on that in case this game does get out of hand.
Well, we're coming at you rapid fire here. We got props left and right. We've had a fantastic flow this show. I mean, I'm glad we had some live viewership on this one. We've been finally getting our wheels turning. So we have the best props in the market coming at you right here, and we have more of them than we've had in the past. So let's start off. I have Jaden Daniels over 212 passing yards. I feel great about this one. The entire offense is healthy. Terry's back. Noah Brown might even be back this week. You like this line for JD?
I never know what to think about Minnesota, just because of how Brian Flores runs that defense. I mean, last week Seattle didn't need to pass, so they didn't. But the plays to attack Minnesota has been through the air, and 212 is a pretty low line for JD, as you said, probably a little deflated because of his time off. I like it. Good look.
Hell yeah. Next one here, we got Justin Jefferson at over 64.5. Our Justin Jefferson rule is officially dropped from 75 to 70. It's going down by the week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, to get it at 65, under 65 is crazy in itself. So I got to be on this. I got to think he's a better player than this. You saw him on the sideline last week and kind of sitting by himself a lot. And he's the team captain. Usually your team captain is the quarterback, but in this team is Justin Jefferson. And I think this is a great comeback spot for him.
I think so too. And awful defense. Like Washington is one of the worst defenses out there, so it is the right time to buy back in on Justin Jefferson. This one I put on here. I'm wearing the jersey. I'm excited for this one. We are here to talk Bears football. That's really what this show is all about. Colston Loveland over 40 yards. LB3 over 40 yards. Both of those are fantastic. Roma Tunze's out. Yep. We saw Cole Kmet make the big play last week. Colston Loveland was still plenty involved. And the Bears are running 13 personnel over the past 3 weeks at the highest rate in the NFL. And that's even with Sean McVay running his silly 3 tight end formation. So the Bears are going to have Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland on the field without Rome. And I am ready to believe that Loveland is going to be well over 40 yards this game.
I love Loveland. I don't know how much I love him this week against Green Bay, who has had one of the best defenses against tight ends, especially recently. But
really good EPA.
Yeah, but we spent a lot of the early season talking about Warren and how could the Bears go Loveland over Warren, and we really started to see that change here over the last 4 to 6 weeks. They actually have near identical statistics, and Loveland's also the younger player, right? Like 3 years younger than Warren. So I'm excited for Loveland. Wish I had him on my dynasty team, but don't you?
He's on mine.
Damn it. I'm trying to get some Bears. I heard that Rome is on the market in that league, so I got to figure out what I want to do for that in the offseason.
So do I. I want Rome on my team. So I think this year will scare a lot of people off Rome because he ended so much worse than he started. But Rome is a fantastic buy in Dynasty. I absolutely love that. Next one up here, I flooded our props with Bears props here. I got my last one in here, and then we have the smart props from Scott directly after this. So if you're listening right now, just know there will be good takes that aren't about the Bears. Cole Kmet over 16 receiving yards. Dude, Green Bay is susceptible to the tight end rollout. Caleb Williams, if anything, is an escape artist. When you're an escape artist, the first guy that comes open is the tight end because the linebackers are coming up. They are going to start trying to converge on the quarterback, and the second that they do that, the tight end position opens immediately. Cole Kmet at 16 with Rome out. Screw it. I think it's as good of a call as taking those Hampton lines, taking some of the other ones that we had in here, Brian Thomas Jr. It's one of those ones that I don't think accounts for the personnel.
Fair, yeah. I mean, we'll have to see what the team looks like without Rome. There's one less mouth to feed. But the mouth that they should be feeding is Luther Burden. I think this is the week we see Luther Burden. He's been percolating a little bit. We've seen more targets each week. He ended up just missing. Oh, I think I played his reception ladder last week, and he had that opportunity in the last drive of the game to hit, I believe, his fifth reception in the plus 195 ladder. But I'm really excited for Burden this week. I think mid-30s you can get his line out. I know it's been creeping up since the Rome injury. As soon as I saw Rome marked out, I went straight down and throw as much money on Luther Burden as I could.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Totally agree with you. And to be honest, if it was in the mid-40s, I'd still take it. I think Luther Burden has shown enough throughout this point to say that he is a competent wide receiver. We could see the late in the year breakout, and I think this is a great opportunity for him to do so. I alluded early on that Deontay Thornton being out was news. I know that may have been taken as a joke early on, but it is actually news, and tell us why, Scott.
Because this is Jack Besh week. This is what the Slappies have been waiting for. Jack Besh was going up in the round 13, 14 at some point during the best ball summer, and starting to see him get a little bit more. He was on the field for 56% of snaps last week. This is coming off of 11%, 15%, 23%. He's been out there to block a lot. I've noticed like they like him a lot as a blocker. But with third and out, Coach Pete Carroll noted that they're going to be using Jack Bech a lot this week, and I'm in. As soon as I heard that, I went to go find a ladder that I could get on. So I found 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus. I will be up a unit if he hits 30. I'll be up 10 units if he hits 70, and it seems achievable. I mean, they're playing Denver, tough defense, we know that, but he's the third target on the team behind Tucker and Bowers, so maybe he'll get lost in the sauce. And I don't know. I like the rookie Bech this week. This is the time in the season where you really start to see the rookies excel, and like we talked about Burden. We're talking about Bech. I got another couple of young guy names later. So get on before it's too late.
I did a full breakdown of why I thought Jack Bech should have stayed at tight end during the offseason at TCU. He actually is converted tight end to wide receiver. I still think he looks like tight end. I have not been impressed this year, so I do not subscribe to that one. But your next line you threw on here, absolutely love it. Darren Waller at over 28.5. One of the best lines I see on this show sheet. I think this one is locked and loaded. It's going to be the easiest cash out of this week. Tua loves Waller. Waller's rap career went bad, but it went bad for his football career to come back. I love this one. How are you feeling about Darren?
Yeah, Darren Waller came back last week, only played 47% of snaps, which is about 10-20% less than he was playing pre-injury. He had 3 targets, 2 catches for 47 yards, and he's been a really important piece of this offense. They're playing the Jets, who have been terrible on defense.
Sorry, got something for that.
I figured that was coming. Yeah, so they've been a bunch of that, and Tua hasn't been throwing very much. They've been relying on Achane. I do like Achane this week against the Jets. Still, his rushing line still hasn't jumped up as much as I would expect based on his multiple 100-yard performances as of late. But I like Waller to have a couple catches and get over that 28.5 this week.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that's one of my favorite ones on here. Next up, you had Bucky Irving at over 2.5 receptions. This surprised me because I still saw Rachaad White and Sean Tucker get involved last week. Do you think that the big message here is that Bucky's going to start scaling up to the point where he is fully the RB1 in Tampa, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the RB1 there. Sean Tucker had his great week 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we've seen that shine start to come off. I think that he will regress back to his RB3 role where we barely see him on the field.
He only gets one per year. He's
exactly.
Like the Cinderella of the NFL. He gets one night and then the slippers come off and he's done.
Exactly. Yeah, Bucky played 52% of snaps, had 17 rushes and 2 receptions. But if you look back when Bucky was playing in his full role, week 1 through 4, he had 4 receptions week 1, 6 receptions week 2, 4 receptions week 3, 5 receptions week 4. And the fact that this is at 2.5 seems like an opportunity. So I'm going to take this before people remember that Bucky Irving it should be 3.5 receptions a game kind of guy.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. I think that especially for the fact that when he was at Oregon, he was such a nasty weapon in the pass game, and we saw that last year. I'm on the same boat. Yep. This next one I want you to explain to me because every week I keep saying this line, so it's weird to see you come on it and not have me write it down. Tell me why I should feel good about Walker.
All right. Well, Kenneth Walker has been named captain this week for his team. Coach likes how he's been running. We started to see
about that.
Yeah, that's why he's captain this week. But we have seen him start to get more of the touches, though last week's game script did end up seeing a lot more Charbonnet down the stretch. But at 61.5, he's been averaging, 11, 14, 16, 11, 13 carries a game. Very efficient on those, running for over 4 yards a carry over the last 5 games. And this is a great matchup against Atlanta, right? They've been a terrible defense. This is Seattle minus 6.5. I kind of thought about it, though. Atlanta has been a better team than their record throughout a lot of the season, so I ended up finding that line to be too high. But what I did like in the game was Kenneth Walker. So that's where I'm at. Kenneth Walker over 61.5.
Love it. Well, this next one you're actually going to need to talk me into because I have been the king of saying JSN's line is far too high. And to be fair, I've been wrong more times than I've been right this year. So 91.5 still feels high to me. Tell me why JSN's having a bounce back this week, because I could see Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet absolutely monetizing this game.
Yeah, it definitely feels high still, but it's a discount from what we've been getting all season, like 4 or 5 yard discount from his normal line. And he's gone over 91.5 every game but 2 last week, and then he had 79 against Arizona in a game where they rolled them early. As I said, I do expect Atlanta to try and be competitive this week, and if that's the case, in any competitive game this year, JSN has very easily gone over this. Just as a reminder, week 12, 167, 11, 105, week 10, 93, week 9, 129, week 7, 123. I mean, it's high, but he's doing it, and he is the only real target on that team. We have Shahid on our big limb, and we've been just watching since this trade. Like, any catch for Shahid, there's been none. It's all JSN and the tight ends once in a while. So it's high, but it's not as high as normal, and that's why I'm interested in JSN over 91.5.
Yeah, I'm with you there, and I'm certainly not clinging to hope that Rashid Shaheed or even Cooper Kupp are going to take away from this one. Cooper Kupp being one of my most owned best ball assets has, he hasn't even underperformed his ADP that much. He was at like wide receiver 50-ish, but even then, it's just so clear that the best weapon in that offense is JSN, and it's not close. Next up, we have same game. Kyle Pitts under 54.5. I don't love this one just because I could see him being close to it. How are you feeling about Kyle Pitts in that offense as a whole?
This to me just seems like a reactionary line. He had 7 catches for 82 last week, which is great, but 54 and a half yards for somebody who we're always like, we all think back to his rookie season, and since then he's been that like guy that you draft hoping for that upside potential, and this line is full of hopium. Now without London and Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, like, just because what happened last week against the Jets is going to come and happen against a much better defense this week. Kyle Pitts is the number 1 target on the team, which I don't think helps him. He gets more coverage towards him, so this just seems like an overreaction line to me. I wasn't looking for it when I pulled up this game and I was looking for JSN's line. I saw this one, and I was like, no. That's too high. That stands out as way too high.
Yeah, I'll give you that much. At a minimum, this is an overreaction line. Next up, we have Corum over 33.5. I heard on the FFD this week that they were loving the Kyron lines. How are you feeling about Blake Corum? Because we have seen him play some fantastic football of late.
Yeah, so 7 carries, 8 carries, 13 carries, 13 carries. He's gone over this line through the last 5 games, and I expect LA to take care of business in this one. And in those games, we do see Corum. He has been getting some of his own series, and then on top of that, in blowouts, he's been getting some extra carries as well. He's been really efficient. Not the 2 games, of course, that he hit his under, rushing for 1.25 a carry against Seattle, but 4.46 against New Orleans, 4.31 against San Francisco, 11.57 last week. And they're looking to keep Kyron healthy. I don't think that the Kyron line is a bad take, but in a game I expect the Rams to bounce back and take care of business. I do think that Corum can easily get over this line, 33.5.
I'm with you there. Explain this next one to me, because I'm not even sure what player you're talking about.
All right, so we were talking about rookies earlier, and here's my last one for the week. Pat Bryant from Denver has kind of taken over the number 2 receiving role from Franklin quietly these last few weeks, and we're starting to see Pat Bryant pan out. Sorry, I'm trying to pull him up here so I can bring you some stats. There we go. So last week he played 70% of snaps, which was by far and away his most snaps on the season. Previously that was 57. He had 7 targets last week, only 3 catches for 42 yards. But yeah, 7 targets last game, and the game before that he had 6. So kind of post-bye rookie bump come in. They're playing against a terrible Las Vegas team. 29.5 yards really isn't that many for a wide receiver too. And I like Pat Bryant this week.
Love it. Love it. Well, that is our last take of the show. Thank you guys for being here. Remember, if you ever got start sick questions, if you ever have some betting line questions, we are here to help. The chat will come up here if we got any people that are asking. But this has been another great episode of the Two Guys One Pod Show. I am Addi Benar, Doug Narder. Be sure to get in those league champ rankings. Would love to be sending you guys a jersey too. And Scott, tell them where you can find you.
I'm Chonks, your Chow Chow Champ 2024. I'm not sure I'm going to have a chance to run that back this year, but you can find me on the X streets as S Maltese, and in the best ball drafts as Chonks. So thinking about playoff best ball, it's definitely a commitment. You really got to build a good portfolio if you want to be successful in that. But the timeline is starting to be full with a number of different angles at attacking that playoff best ball. So I'm excited. So decided to start drafting again. I kind of miss it. We haven't watched the last drafts played out, but I kind of want to start drafting again.
Oh yeah. And we have some big news for the NFL draft on League Champ coming soon too. So keep your eyes open for that. But as we always say here, Jack Besh never, Trey Tucker forever, right?
Peace.